All right, legends, this is take two. Hopefully my hay fever doesn't kick in again. Welcome on in. This is our footy tipping video. So, I was just looking back at last week. It looks like we got three wrong. One of them was kind of on purpose with the Carlton Adelaide Crows game. So, I'm actually okay that I got three wrong in the end. But, let's go through this week's footy tips. I'll make them a little bit smaller so you guys can still see my beautiful face. Thursday night is the Dockers and the Pies over in the West. Should be a little bit closer than I think. Freo are favourites going into this. I think Freo had no chance of winning this whatsoever. Freo are actually $1.84. The Pies are $2. I think the Pies... I think they're just too good a team. I don't know. I think that's a safe $2 bet, in my opinion. The way Freo have been playing lately, they just look lost. They really do. I don't like their game plan. I don't like the way they get coached. Yeah, I think the Pies will get up by 5 goals quite easily. I think they'll bounce back from that game they lost to the Cats last week. And then obviously on Friday night, you've got the Saints and the Blues. The Blues going in favourites, but the Saints do play well at Marvel Stadium. This is a tough one. I'm gonna tip the Blues. No, I'm not. I'm going to tip the Saints. I never tip the Blues. The only time I've tipped the Blues this year is when they've faced the Crows. So let's go the Saints. The Saints have been in good form at Marvel. A couple of good wins there. So I'll go the Saints by 2 goals. Did I say the Pies by 5? So I think that'll be a good game to watch. I think the two interesting games. I think it's Spud's game on Friday night, I believe. So yeah, get around that as well. And then we've obviously got the Melbourne Hawthorn game, which should be a cracker of a game too. However, I think the Hawks are red hot favourites at $1.26. I think they're a pretty safe bet to go with, so I will tip the Hawks as well. I'll tip them by about 5 goals. But Max Gawn in the ruck is going to be a problem for Hawthorn. I think he's going to be very, very, very good against Hawthorn's weaker sort of ruck stocks. So who knows? If he fires up, Melbourne might be a bit of a chance here. And then we go to Saturday Arvo, which is the Bombers and the Swans. Bit of a 50-50 one here. It's at Marvel Stadium. The Swans are favourites. So that's pretty tough. I'm going to tip a roughie and go the Dons. Sydney ended up beating the Giants, but I reckon the Swans will be knackered after that game. So just going to tip a roughie this round. I'm going to go the Bombers in an upset over the Swans. Swans have had the big clash of the bridge or whatever they call it. Now they've got to travel and go to Melbourne. I think they'll be pretty tired. That's just my rationale. The Suns and the Bulldogs at Darwin. So this is always going to be an interesting one. I think it'll favour the Suns. Because they train up in those humid, hot conditions, whereas the Bulldogs, they've played up at Darwin a lot, but once you're up in that heat, it just takes it out of you too. So they've gone from the freezing cold Ballarat 1 week to up in the heat at Darwin in the next. I think that'll hurt the Bulldogs. And I'll tip the Suns in another upset. I could be wrong here again, obviously, because the Bulldogs are in red hot form. But something just tells me that the Suns might be better in those conditions up in the heat and the sticky dew and the wetness. So I'm going to go the Suns by about a goal in an absolute thriller. And then we go to the showdown on the Saturday night, Port versus the Crows. And I think this is, again, a 50-50 game, even though it's 12th v 5th. And it's $2.39 to $1.58. Whenever Port's up against the wall, they always come out swinging. You never corner a rat, as they say. I'm going to tip the Crows. I'm going to stay faithful to my team, tip the Crows. I just can't tip the Power. I just can't do it. So, Crows by 4 goals. We do match up well against them. It's going to be an interesting game to watch. Could be game of the round this. There are a few good games, but the showdowns are always fantastic to watch. May 11th is Richmond and the Eagles. A bit of a who cares. You'd expect that Richmond should win this over the Eagles at the G as well. So the Eagles have had to travel a long way to get there. I'm going to back in the Tigers by about 4 goals. I think that, the young legs hopefully will run over the top of the Eagles and get the job done. The way the Eagles are at the moment, they're in real crisis situation. They're terrible. At least the Tigers have got some, promising young stars. I mean, the Eagles have got Reed, but, there's only so much he can do, sort of thing. Again, another pretty good match. The GMHBA Stadium, Geelong. It's the Cats and the Giants. I think this will be a great match to watch. We're spoiled for footy this weekend. This weekend's got some good matches coming up. I am going to go with the Cats, though. They've come a big win up against the Pies. And I think the Giants, having played the Q Clash last week, will take a lot out of them. So both teams will probably be pretty tired by the end of it, I reckon. But just the Cats playing at home, I think, will be too strong. They're a quality side. They're in good form at the moment. They're in and out of good form, sorry. They lost to Carlton one week and then they beat the Pies the next. So it's really one of those years where any of the top 11 teams can all beat each other. So that should be an interesting one. And I think that if the Giants start well, then they're a chance. But if the Cats get away early, then there's no catching them at home. And then the last game of the round's played in Hobart, and it's going to be the Lions by about 10 goals, I reckon. North play Hobart pretty well, but the Lions are first on top of the ladder. I think they're a game clear on top of the ladder now, so expect them to absolutely carve it up again. So let me know your tips in the comment section below, guys. I thought I'd do a quick one and get this one out to you, the Savo. Let me know who you guys think will win this round, and how did you go last round? I got 3 wrong, so not too bad. But let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in another hour or so for the Supercoach review from last week. Bye for now. Peace!